let's directly jump into the topic of today, which is at the intersection of macroeconomics, which is what I studied at ISB, and public policy and international regulations, which is what I studied at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. So the problem statement is when should government regulate, right? This is something I would say we are literally scratching the surface, but people who have probably taken my policy consulting masterclass would realize that I often say that it's not government's business to get into business, and it's at the heart of what I am going to be teaching and discussing today. So let's directly get into the situation or the problem statement here. We're all hearing about cryptocurrency, we're all hearing about blockchain, etc. Governments across the world have been regulating cryptocurrency. But then my question is there a need so? Right? Are governments regulating cryptocurrency because they don't understand what is cryptocurrency, or are they really understanding that yes, there is a potential market failure which is happening, because of which we should be regulating cryptocurrency? I can very well understand if many of you are thinking, wait, Shatakshi, I do not intend to be in public policy, so this lesson might not be really relevant for me. But you really need to understand, if you intend to have a generalist I would say skill set, if you want to be a management consultant for that matter. Even during my time at BCG, I have had multiple projects which related to or which cater to public policy. So all these educations which relate to macroeconomics and global principles really come handy, especially when you are living the life of not of a specialized consultant, but rather a generalist consultant, which is what management consultants do very heavily. With that, let's directly get into the solution of this particular case. There are 6 market failures that usually happen, after which the government should be regulating. In the interest of time and in the way I have structured this particular video, we would be deep diving into one of those 6 market failures. Very interestingly, this is one question that the current Chief Economic Advisor of India, Krishnamurthy Subramaniam, he was my professor at ISB, and I happened to have a very brief chat with him, whereby I was trying to gauge his inputs for global governance initiative. This is one question he had asked me actually: Shatakshi, what are the market failures because of which government should be regulating in? Truth be told, I didn't have the answer to this question back then, but I found the answer, I uncovered the answer when I was at Fletcher. Coming back to the problem statement, when should governments regulate? Step 2, you need to know that there are certain market failures. Only when they happen, the government should ideally regulate. We will be covering one of those 6 market failures in this particular video. What is the market failure that we're talking about here? It's called adverse selection. It's an economics concept, right? Now, what is adverse selection? It's basically called the bad lemons example or the good lemons example. Allow me to share my screen and I'll quickly explain through certain mathematical numbers as well what is adverse selection. So imagine a market in which there are lemon vendors, right? In Hindi, we call it a mandi. English version of it is literally a market, right? There are lemon sellers and lemon buyers. Now, the sellers can be of 2 types: good lemon sellers and bad lemon sellers, right? Now, there are 2 situations that can happen. First is, assume that there are 60% good lemons and 40% bad lemons. All of these numbers are hypothetical. For the first good lemons, right, there will be 1A and 1B. So 1 is basically good lemons, 1A is buyers are willing to pay as high as rupees 100 and sellers are willing to take as low as rupees 90. So for the good lemons, buyers are saying that we can pay as high as rupees 100 and sellers are saying that the bare minimum price that we will charge would be at least rupees 90. So that's first branch. The second branch of the issue tree is bad lemons. Bad lemons 2A, right? Buyers are saying we are willing to pay as high as rupees 50 and sellers are saying the least that we will take will be rupees 25. So that's the second part of your issue tree. Buyers do not know the quality of the lemons, right? If you are the consumer, how would you recognize which lemon is good and which lemon is bad, right? So what would be the average price that you will be able to gauge in the market, right? So the average price will be 60% of 100 and plus 40% of 50 rupees 80, right? That is the price that should the buyer be willing to pay, consumers like you and me. The interesting and the insight is the market will not clear at this rupees 80 because evidently you refer the minimum price sellers of good lemons are willing to charge, right? Sellers will say no, rupees 80 is not what we are going to price it at, because the least that we want is rupees 90. But by end of the day, there is an information asymmetry. Buyers will not get to know which one is a good lemon and which one is a bad lemon. I know this was little mathematical, but this was really needed to set the foundation of this lesson, which is adverse selection. So basically, what is adverse selection? Adverse selection, the heart of it sits information asymmetry. Now think of a practical example. Insurance industry, right? When we go to the insurance agency and get ourselves insured, the insurance agency doesn't know, right, if Shatakshi is suffering from XYZ diseases or not, right? There is an information asymmetry, and insurance companies cash in when I don't claim over the period of time that I have signed up my insurance for. So their profits is when I don't fall ill, right? So there is an information asymmetry. They would not want to give insurance to people who fall ill more often, or even if they would want to, they will premiumize the insurance coverage. What happens in such industry? That is when governments kick in, right? Governments basically says that we would want to make sure that there is a terms and conditions document whereby consumers are also revealing about their illnesses. So there is an illness document, a laundry list, whereby you will be declaring, there is a declaration form that Shatakshi is not suffering from diabetes, Shatakshi is suffering from XYZ, heart problems, etc. So that is how you are actually bridging the market. You are closing the information asymmetry, and governments come and regulate and says that, hey, listen, this is what we want to have. Now let's take a step back, and we started with cryptocurrency, right? This is a very interesting case because the class that I took at Harvard Business School, we were trying to solve a problem for an entrepreneur who was in a cryptocurrency case. Now this is HPS, right? Even if you assume that these are one of the best brains, not the best brains, one of the best brains in the world, or the entire classroom is few of the best brains in the world, then even in a 2-hour classroom, the first hour was just spent discussing what is cryptocurrency, because it was not assumed that everybody understands what is cryptocurrency. My fear, or I would say the takeaway that you should take at the end of this case session with me on regulation and on economics should be, should government just regulate the unknown? That we don't know what this is, or we don't understand the detail of it, so let's just regulate it. I don't believe, at least that is what economics teach us, right? Economics teaches us that there are certain fundamental market failures that we would want to eventually, after which we would want to regulate.